Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, of course. And if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. And let's crack on with today's first story, which comes from Shima69, who says, I, 26 female, will be a co-worker with a former friend, 26 male, who I was abusive towards and bullied him continuously. I used to be a complete B-word during high school. There's no denying that. I'm very ashamed of the kind of person that I was. It was partly because my parents spoiled me too much with my good looks, which I had out of pure luck and chance, and myself too. I was extremely arrogant and selfish. There was this boy in high school, kind of a loner, always busy studying and doing projects, no friends, getting bullied quite often. He was very intelligent. Always the best when it came to grades. I wasn't friends with him. I was one of the cool girls and I only hung out with other cool girls and boys. I was usually the center of attention. There was always a gang of bad girls in school and I was their leader. I wasn't doing well with my grades, mostly because I wasn't spending time studying and was obsessed with other things. I had the selfish idea of using this boy, so I befriended him and led him close, in order to get some help in return with my studies, and he did help me a lot. Sometimes he helped me for hours before exams or coursework, and it helped my grades a lot. His friendship with me made him more popular as well. This kept going for almost 2 years, and I knew he liked me, but I never considered that. He eventually asked me out, which I responded horribly to it. I laughed at him, told him that he's not good enough for me, and since I didn't need his help anymore, I told him I only befriended him so that he would help me. Not because I liked him in any way. I was a complete bitch. After that, I asked other girls to make fun of him constantly, which made his life difficult. So, time passed and I only realized at college what a complete bitch I was, to him and other people. I've had therapy and I'm not the same person anymore. So right now I work in HR. I was going through the list of people who are starting to work for us next week, since I'm the person who basically meets them on day one, handles all the process, etc. Yeah, he's one of them. I want to make things right with him and apologize for my horrible behavior, but I don't know how to do that. What should I say? I really don't know. And when should I do it? It'll be extremely awkward on day one, if he meets me as the person who welcomes him at the door without any prior knowledge. Should I contact him before his first day? P.S. I can't ask someone else to handle him when he arrives on his first day. I'm the only person who has this responsibility right now. And one bit of relevant info from down in the comments, that was from OP, that says, I was willing to go apologize to him when I was working with my therapist, but she suggested that leaving him alone is the best thing to do, since he probably has moved on as well. She suggested I can always apologize if our paths crossed. Now, you know me, if you've been here for a while, you know that I was bullied in my past, but I will, go over it again for some people that may be new here, haven't heard about it before. But yes, I was bullied especially as when it escalated, was my last year of school. And I know from previous experience and talking to other people within our community, the old Waffle Gang, about other people that's been bullied and how it affects everyone very differently. I know people that have spoken to their bullies before, forgiven them and moved on. Would I be able to do that myself? Look, I always leave things open because I never want to say never, because you just don't know. But I always feel like I'd never be able to forgive that person, especially still knowing that they're a shithead now. So for me in this, how I would want, I was like the person in this situation and I was going into this new company, that the HR person was my former bully and they're going to be introducing me to the company, etc. How would I want that person to deal with it? Part of me kind of just wants you to go and just totally ignore what happened in the past and just, would be amicable at work and that's it. Business relationship only. We're not going to have small talk. Do what you need to do and then we'll move on from that. Part of me says that I'd like the person to acknowledge what they done. Not even necessarily an apology, but just saying, I know we had a shitty past, and maybe say like, yeah, okay, I'm sorry about that, whatever. And then just move past it. Again, business relationship only. I could never see myself like forgiving my bully for what they did to me. But like I said, I know many people have completely different opinions on this, and I absolutely respect that. I think people need to deal with it in their own way, as long as it's sort of healthy, But Sin25 says as soon as he sees you, he is going to panic. I genuinely feel for the guy, and regardless of however much you have changed, for him, that will be irrelevant. I'd recommend at the first opportunity taking him into a private room and being open and honest with him about how sorry you are. Reassure him that you're aware of how awful a person you were, and because of him, you have made changes to your life. Don't make it about you though from there. Because this is a pretty unique situation, you should make him aware that you would like to move forward and that you will understand if he does not wish to deal with you in the future, if he doesn't have to. It's also a possibility that he actually doesn't give a shit about you. I was bullied in school and one of the bullies saw me and tried to apologize. I ignored him completely. He'd lost any significance in my life and his opinions or wants were simply not important to me. Apologize regardless, but do it privately and do not under any circumstances talk to any other colleagues about the history. Get Real Quick says not much to do. You should apologize in a professional capacity ASAP, but not really labor the point. Having been in a similar situation, on the other side, I can tell you that he most likely really doesn't want to hear it and frankly is always going to think that you're a dumb, heartless bitch who is always right now doing the corporate equivalent of bagging his groceries. It's admirable that you want to make amends, but frankly, you should have done this long time ago rather than waiting and letting it fester. Hoping you'll just never run into him again and you could sweep it under the rug. We reap what we sow. Another user says everyone in this thread is being so weird. You're a dick in high school, it happens. There are people I was really not so nice to who've requested me on Facebook and we've been friendly in person when we see each other and vice versa. High school just sucks, but not as much as middle school. Anyways, he probably won't feel it's a big deal unless you feel it's a big deal. He's here to work just like you are. I'd recommend being extremely normal. Extremely normal. If your paths crossed and you're alone, be friendly and ask him how things are and how he's been. Then casually drop a "I'm sorry I was a huge dick in high school, I'm not like that anymore." He'll probably understand. But OP does come back in to update the post and says, "I'd like to thank you all who gave me suggestions. Those of you who believed me, those who didn't believe that I was a changed person or doubted my intentions. All of it helped me a lot. I love you all." So I decided to write him a handwritten letter and give it to him on the day that he starts and move on professionally to the rest of the day, and explain everything in the letter. Since I was the person who was supposed to welcome him into work, that meant it had to be the first thing I was going to do. I took a lot of ideas about what you said to me, so this is the letter I wrote. "Hi James, you're probably surprised to see me here. I'm not sure I'm on your list of favorite people to randomly meet. Without any excuses, I want you to know how sorry I am about how I treated you in the past. When I look back at the things I've done, there's nothing in my life that I'm more ashamed of. I can't imagine how it must have been for you during that time, and I don't pretend to understand. I'm just sorry for all that I did. It haunts me every day in my life, and it should. You might think I'm only doing this to seek forgiveness to feel better about myself, or maybe I want to make sure nothing happens to my job and career. You have every right to think that. But this letter isn't about asking you to forgive me, or telling you how much of a changed person I am. That would make it all about me, but this is about you. It's about where we are right now. We're going to be co-workers, and I want you to know that I will never ever do anything that might make your life difficult at work. It's funny I say that because my mere existence here will probably cause just that, and even if it doesn't, how can you trust a word that comes out of my mouth? You shouldn't, but that's all I have to work with. I don't know how you think of me at this time, or whether you want to talk to me about the past or not. It's your decision, and I will comply to whatever you decide. If you decide to not talk about the past at all, I'm fine with that. When I return, we'll go through the rest of the formalities like professional colleagues, and we only speak when we have to. If you want to talk to me about the past, that's fine as well. Be assured that it won't be about me. If you need someone to yell at, someone to be angry at, or even a punching bag, I can be those things. You have every right to work in a place that you feel happy and safe, and if my existence threatens that, which is completely understandable, then we shouldn't work in the same place. If that's the case, just give me the word and I'll request a transfer or I will quit. The offer is open-ended. Regardless of what you decide or how you think about me, I genuinely wish you well. These are my contact details." So, on the day when he saw me, he was shocked and clearly shaking. When I offered to shake his hand, he was very stressed. I proceeded to give him the above letter in an envelope and then invited him to his desk. I tried to act completely professionally. I gave him the very basic info, then told him that I would be back with the rest of the things in half an hour, to give him time to read the letter and feel more comfortable. When I was back, he was more relaxed. We went through the rest of the stuff, and at the end he passed me a note which said, 6:30, cafe here, which is right around the corner. So I went in there and he was there. We sat there for a couple of minutes not saying anything. Eventually I asked how he's doing and if he read the letter. Then he burst into tears, and I couldn't stop my tears as well. After a couple of minutes he told me that he was ready to quit on day one if I hadn't given him that letter. I reminded him that I should be the one who leaves, but he told me that it's not necessary. He told me that for a couple of years he wished me dead, and even though he managed to move on, he never stopped feeling angry towards me until he saw me again. We talked more and more and got everything out. It was almost 9:30 when we were done. The first 2 hours was about our past, but the final hour was mostly a friendly conversation. We didn't talk again that week. This week, one day he approached me during lunchtime and we had a short chat about random things. Today, he asked to see me again after work. We had a short chat and he brought up the letter again. Told me that he had time to think about everything. He said that he wasn't convinced that I changed back then, but now after 2 weeks, he's seen me around and thinks that I might have. He told me that he's willing to forgive me and put the past behind us, and we shook hands as friends. Oh, and at the end he said I owe him a lifetime of favors. Ha, I do. I've never been happier in my life and I can't stop crying. And I think it's fair to say there was mixed emotions in the comments below this one. Some people saying, it's a happy ending for them both and they're glad to see that. Other people saying that they wouldn't be able to forgive a former bully no matter what they did. Years of being terrorized by someone. Other people saying, apologies don't make everything right, but you can't go back in time, so it's the best thing you can do. And I gotta be honest, for me, like I say, I always try to put myself in someone's shoes. I've been bullied in the past myself. It certainly gave me conflicting feelings on this. You could say that she's only saying it because, they've met by chance and that's why all this has only come up now. But she did say that before, that she did want to approach him in the past, but a therapist told her not to and to leave him alone. But yeah, it certainly left me with conflicting feelings. I'm not sure how I'd react myself at the moment. So I'm going to be very interested in what you have to say about this. How would you feel? Because I know some people have expressed their stories in the past with bullying. How would you feel if you received a letter like that? Would you feel it's genuine? Would you be able to move past it? Let us know your thoughts and let's move on to another story. Our next story comes from Prestigious Cell 816 and says, would I be the arsehole for not showing up to my father's 40th birthday? Names changed for obvious reasons. My 19 female, father 39 male, is turning 40 next month. My mother 38 female and father have been divorced for 5 years. I have 2 full-blood siblings, Janice 10 female and Phil 18 male, along with a stepbrother Isaac 12 male and a half-brother Henry 6 male. I may have the ages wrong for my stepbrother and half-brother, but that is because I have not seen them since I was 16. But that is besides the point. Needless to say, the reasons for divorce were messy. My father had an affair with my mother's friend Maura, 38 female from high school, and wanted to have an open relationship. My mother, who is a Christian, said absolutely not, and my father dropped the divorce on her. My mother got 75% custody over us and moved out of the house that my father rented. She moved in with my grandmother, who is a rock star, for taking in me and my siblings. Due to my mother's medical condition, she is unable to work or drive, so she had been a stay-at-home mum since I was born. My father was the one who was providing for our family financially, with his job as a member in the army. My father married Maura about a year or two after the divorce. She had his child a year into dating, and after he had introduced us to her, there was some drama with Maura and my mother. Just for example, her and her sister threw eggs at my grandmother's house. I know because I was there when it happened and watched her do this. She fought my mother outside the school parking lot for my conference. She lost, by the way, and called my mother unfit and lazy despite knowing her medical history. I know this because she and I had followed each other on Facebook. My father never stood up for my mother in this time and stood by what his new wife was saying and doing. He spent less time with me and my siblings and more time with her child and my half-brother. I want to note that my full 2-blooded siblings, Janice and Phil, are on the spectrum and have autism. My half-sibling and stepbrother do not. It is blatantly obvious that my father favors them because they are normal and easier to deal with. These are quotes from his mouth, by the way. He missed very important moments in my life. I want to be an actress, and I had landed a gig at a theatre in my state that is fairly well known when I was 16. I invited everyone to come and see me, and everyone came except for my father. His reasoning was because it was too far to drive and that gas was expensive. My great-grandfather, who is well into his 80s, made a point to come. He lives only 30 minutes from my father and has a similar financial situation to him, and he made sure he could see me. So, I see my father's excuse as complete nonsense. There are other things my father has done to me and my family, but if I were to list everything, I would run out the room. So should I show up to my father's big 40th birthday when he missed major milestones in my life after everything is done to me and my family? Now, of course, absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. And it always comes down to the question these days that I always ask myself when I read these stories. And as always, I know it's easy for me to say sat behind a microphone, but what's this person bringing into your life? They're treating you and your siblings badly, just causing you hurt. So I certainly wouldn't be turning up to his birthday, and I'd really be considering about how much further interaction I'd want with him in general. But that's just me. OP does update their post and says, so I'm 20 female, sure everyone is wondering if I ended up going to my father's 40th birthday party. And no, I did not. I did go to his place for Thanksgiving. Even after everything he did in my last post, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to try and have a relationship with him and be open-minded. A full 7 days at his house trying to be open and talk and hang out with him and my stepbrother 13 and half-brother 7 and stepmother 39. But I shouldn't be surprised that I got nothing from them. All my stepbrother and half-brother wanted to do was sit in their room and play video games all day. I love video games and offered to join them, but they told me they were already playing, didn't have enough controllers, etc. They gave every excuse in the book, so I didn't play with them. It was worse when my little sister, 10, with autism wanted to play. My stepmother told her it's the boys' room and to leave them alone. I talked with my stepmother a few times about girls' things and life, like how my college life was going, what my favorite TV show was at the moment, and other things like that. But of course, the topic somehow switched to the divorce and her complaining about my father's payment for child support. Then she started bad-mouthing my grandmother, 59, and mother, 39. After that, I was done with her. And I'm sure everyone is wondering how it went with my father. It didn't. Not even a little bit of conversation that carried on for a minute. He came into my room once or twice and just said, hey, or how are you? And then went back to his room to be on his phone. And believe me, I tried to make it last longer and actually talk to him, but he refused to get off the damn phone and talk to his oldest daughter. So, once I was back home after that horrible Thanksgiving, I cried into my mother's arms. I cried and cried the whole day that I got back. I wanted a relationship with my father. I wanted to try despite everything he's ever done to me, and now I see that no matter what, that he doesn't care about me. So, I'm done caring about him. He doesn't get any more second chances, and I'm completely cutting him off from my life. And that's incredibly sad and painful to read for OP because, you know, you can see in the post that they wanted this relationship with their father but just wasn't getting it. And one day, I imagine he's going to look back on this and he's going to think, fuck, what have I done? And realize the damage that he's done. Like I said, I don't blame OP for cutting him off at all. He doesn't sound like he's contributing anything meaningful to OP's life and just treating them absolutely badly. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.